I will really rate Maradona amongst those big stars because he was a one unique guy, so you wouldn't believe what he would done in the field.
Sy potensiaal kon dit hom wêreldroem gegee het.
Definitief, miskien die hoogste status in Suid-Afrika.
In the afternoon, the guy came to my house and he told me that he stabbed Maradona last night, and I was like, what really happened, guys? Because I knew they were friends. We were almost like, we all together were friends because we were also dancing together and stuff. So I was shocked to hear him saying he stabbed Maradona, and I was like, why? What happened?
Toe sê die dogter vir ons, daai tyd wat hy kom van die hospitaal af in Worcester, sy hart het gestaan in die gangetjie. Hy is nou oorlede.
Wil jy graag weet, waar is Maradona se hart nou?
Ja, Jan.
Ek gaan probeer om laat ons hierdie boek toemaak, dat jy weet waar het Maradona se hart heen gegaan.
Dankie, Jan.
Ja. Dit is vir my vandag 'n wonderlike dag om met jou te praat hierso. Jy is die oom van Maradona. Die dood van Maradona het julle familie diep geraak. Vertel my wat het alles gebeur.
Ek kan heel dag van Maradona praat. Ek ken van Maradona van dag 1 af tot op einde van zijn leven. Maradona heeft mijn hart uit zijn hart gestelen met alles. School toe, hij was fluks. Je stuur van Maradona gaan je niet horen. Hij brommel niet. Als je praat van sports, Maradona is daar. Hij was fluks voor alles. Zo, hij was een kind, wat ik zei, hij was een free gift.
Free gift?
Hij was een free gift voor ons. Ja, zo. Als hij nog daar geweest had, kan ik als kind zeggen, ik ga nog leven zoals de koning in Roze worden. Hij gaat ons misschien op een ander level gezet. Speciale familie van Qobisa.
Hoe kom het om Maradona genoem?
Hij was bij oor soccer. Ik kan 1 jaar was op de Dorisloop speel soccer. Maradona was zo 5 jaar oud. En onze dagen speelden ze net ons team, net die fan, net die players, was 11 ons. Ons het die reserve. Ons net 11 maanden. Nou, als kan niet sapi, gaan we die mensen, is niet Maradona wat dat beter is. Hij heeft zo'n soccertree gehad. Maar die soccertree was zo lang. Hij kan niet zijn soort zien. En hij schreef buiten, hij zei, als moet voor hem zitten, hij gaat naar goal maken. Hij was 5 jaar oud. En ons is bekommerd van, hij is alleen naar buiten kant. En die dragen niet na. Later zetten ze hem in. Hij was 5 jaar oud. Op bij het tournament Maradona, hij daar gespeeld om 9. Als hij niet bal gescoord, slaat hij Maradona zijn kop. Dus het de goal, hij was een wingoal voor ons. Dus daarvan af toen noemen we zijn naam Maradona. Dus Maradona was bij special. En als hij bal heeft op zijn voeten, was het gebied bij zijn goal.
Sê vir my, waar was jy daardie dag toe Maradona gesteek is.
Ik voel moe. Zoals iemand wat gaan ziek raken. Maar ik weet niet wat is goed is. Ik drink die 12 uur aan. Slaan niet op de hoek. Maradona is gesteek. Maar toen vat ik zo omdat hij misschien is gesteek als maar net een hoekje. En hij gaat misschien weer gezond raken. En kom ik bij het hospitaal en doen ze nee, Maradona is vooruit. Hij maakt hier niks, hij praat, hij zei nog van ons, hij is honger. En ze maken of hem toe pijs. Dit was een zondag, dinsdagochtend. Bellen hulle weer van Tigerberg af, nee maar drank het, ons moet nou opkomen. Kom ik aan boer, nee man. Dokter zei voor ons, nee, zijn of jullie eerlijk. Maradona is niet meer samen jullie niet. Toen zei hij voor ons, nee maar, die machine moet afgezet raken van Maradona. Hij is prins dood. Toen vraag ik nou, wat is de oorzaak? Toen zei hij, nee, let's say, zuurstof afgesteekt, dit is de oorzaak. So dit wat ons met Donjas geweest, wat hij praat, toen kan hij nog praten, because die aard nog niet toegeraakt. Nou, dit maakt dat Maradona nou, je kan zich niks verstaan, hij kan asem, maar hij is dood, hij weet van niks. Zo zijn brein het zuurstof gekregen. Dit was de reden dat het nou voor Maradona verloren had. Maar als het nooit vergeet van ons.
Wie het besluit dat hulle sy organe moet skenk?
Dat is zeker niet maar niet pa. Van ons drie was daar.
Ja.
Ja, en volgens ons geloven ons doen het niet.
Julle doen dit nie.
Maar op reden dat ik het achterkom die lewe gaan voeren doen. Misschien kan ik geweest zijn wat moest gehelpen geweest van iemand anders partner af. En toen het besef, misschien Maradona zijn geleverd en hij dit gedaan heeft bij iemand anders. Toen gaan dus nog dit besluit nee, maar ons moet maar.
Dear Mrs. Qobisa, may we at the IBAN Foundation offer our sincere condolences to you and your family on the death of your son, Abukele. We hope it will be of some consolation to you in your bereavement to know that by your very generous donation of his corneas for transplant purposes, a lady as well as a gentleman in the Western Cape have had their sight restored. Thank you very much for talking to me today. This is the first time I enter this arena of eyes, you know, the cornea. So therefore, I'd like to know more about it.
You've obviously heard about organ donation,
That's
but
what
most people haven't heard about tissue donation.
No.
So they don't know that they can donate their corneas or their skin or their bone.
Yeah,
So the cornea is, some people call it the window of the soul,
exactly.
and it's just the transparent, the front portion of the eye. And its key role is vision, and it helps control the light that enters the eye. And I think with organ donation, when transplant coordinators get consent for organs, there are times that families don't donate the eyes or the corneas because they find it to be something gruesome, or they'll say, you know, I've looked into his or her eyes and no, so don't touch the eyes. But what families don't know is that they can have an open casket. It's not gruesome at all. You won't know that the corneas or the eyes were harvested. There's no disfigurement of the face.
So it's an ophthalmologist that will make the ultimate call as to whether a transplant is required.
Yeah.
The ophthalmologist then places that patient on a waiting list with us. So the ophthalmologist will have a list of patients requiring a transplant. We will then phone the ophthalmologist when we have a suitable cornea. He then decides which patient receives the cornea, which patient it's best suited to. It's either a patient with an illness, a disease called keratoconus or some other disease that affects the cornea, which then affects their sight, or somebody who has an injury that's affected their cornea, because there's a long waiting list. In South Africa, you can wait 2 years plus because there just aren't enough donors, which is why doctors are importing corneas. The corneas are coming in from America, and they're able to use the imported corneas for their patients because we just don't have enough local corneas.
If you can explain to me a little bit more what exactly, you can actually show me what is a cornea.
Yes, I can show you what a cornea looks like. I also have the sclera in the fridge, and so the sclera is the white of the eye.
Right.
The cornea, sclera.
Okay, yes.
The cornea is the most important part, because that is the part that gives you the vision, and the part that they transplant. So that is the cornea.
That is the cornea.
Yeah, it looks like a contact lens. Like I said, it's the transparent portion in the front of the eye, and that is the part that gets allocated and surgeons do a corneal transplant. And then this is the globe or the sclera of the eye. The white of your eye. So this was when I removed the whole eye.
And you do it yourself?
I do it myself. So what happens is I bring it here to the eye bank, and I then separate the cornea from the sclera.
Right.
The sclera can be stored in our fridge for a year. It expires after a year, but the cornea unfortunately expires after 2 weeks.
Right.
But because of the shortage of corneas, the corneas go out within 2 or 3 days.
Right.
And then over here, so that's my instruments. I would use, there are 2 scissors in there. So one when I harvest the whole eyes and one when I harvest the corneas. And so I would take this little gadget over here and put it, this one over here. So I would take that, and that goes into the eyelid. So this is to hold the eyelids open.
Right.
So I'll just pop it in there and let go. And the eyelids, so the eye will open up. And then the conjunctiva is the skin around the eye. So then I'll cut away the conjunctiva, and I'll take a blade and make a little slit. So the iris is the color of the eye, and make a little slit next to the iris, and then cut around the iris. And I separate the cornea from the iris and pop that immediately into my preservative. And so when I remove either the cornea or the whole eye, I'll pack it with cotton wool balls and then put this eye cap on top. And you see those little spikes on there, it just helps the eyelid, it just closes up better. That's why the spikes are there. And then I'll do either 1 or 2 sutures to hold the eye in place. So the sutures are, it's also black, so it looks like eyelashes. And then I cut those sutures and I tuck them away. And you will never know that I harvested corneas or eyes.
Tell me, how do you feel when you see a person and there the person is lying and you know, now I'm going to harvest the eyes?
You know what? I treat a deceased donor as if they are alive.
Right.
When it comes to younger donors, it is really sad. But I always have the thought that just yesterday this person was walking around chatting to their families. And so I do think about that. But every donor gets treated with dignity. And also chatting to families, that I think that is probably the most difficult part of my job, is chatting to a mother who lost a child, a husband or wife that lost their partner. But when they discover that the family member will help restore the sight of not only two recipients, but more, because parts of the sclera can be allocated to 2, 3, 4 recipients. And so when you tell them that, they feel that something good can come from the tragedy.
You know why I'm here today is because of one of the people that I've got to know while I was doing this series is a young man, and his nickname was Maradona. And he was, even people from international people came out to write a book about him. He was stabbed to death, and his mother then donated all his organs, and she would like to know what happened to the organs.
When people donate their corneas, 2 recipients are assisted. So one recipient will get the one cornea and the other one will receive the other one. What we do with all families that donate is we send them a letter stating that the corneas, we thank them for the donation, we offer our condolences, and then we also state that the corneas were used, and we will say it was a man and a woman in the Western Cape or somebody in the Northern Cape, but we don't give any more specifics. We don't give identities or specific areas, but we will send them a letter of thanks and give them an indication of how the corneas were used.
I found out, I went to Grooteskier and I spoke to Fiona, and Fiona said to me they never used any of the organs, but then she said, well, they used his corneas or his eyes, you know.
You most certainly can believe that they didn't use his organs, and I'll tell you why. Because when families, when the consent is taken for organs, these patients are on ventilators. I would then, so they would obviously be in theatre when they harvest organs, and I would go to theatre to harvest the corneas or the eyes. In his case, I did not go to theatre. I went to Ward A1, and I harvested his corneas in Ward A1. So that's an indication that.
So you harvest Maradona's. Well, this is wonderful. The mother would love to hear that.
Sam Qobisa.
That's right.
Yes, I harvested his corneas. His corneas were allocated to 2 people in the Western Cape. That was a male and a female in the Western Cape. We can unfortunately not give any details of the recipients. I can guarantee her that those corneas were used because there is a form that come back from our surgeons, from the ophthalmologist. Yeah. And this form, it's called a post-op form. Yeah. And it's details about the recipient and when the procedure was performed. So I do have those. I can guarantee you that the corneas were used.
And the people can see now.
After a year, these patients can see. Yeah.
Although you won't tell me who are the people who the recipients, perhaps somebody in the Western Cape will contact us and thank the mother of Maradona. That'll be fantastic if somebody does that. I went to Rawsonville and I saw Eunice, the mother of Maradona, and I said to her, I'm going to get closure on this story that she so much wants to know about what happened to the organs. And I now want you to confirm that Maradona's heart wasn't used. That is so.
That is absolutely so. So I can confirm without a doubt that due to the circumstances at the time, his heart was not transplanted into anybody else. It was not removed. The transplant team did not do any surgery, and we thank his mom sincerely for her kind offer. I think that can never be forgotten, that she was willing to offer, but because of the circumstances, it didn't work out that way.
Dink jy hy sou wêreldberoemd geraak het?
Hy was op pad.
Wêreldberoemd geraak.
Hy was op pad.
Ja.
So hy het gemaak dat ons nou pyn baie voel vir ons daai.
Ja.
Hy het drome gehad agter sy rug. En sy drome het nooit waarheid geraak nie.
Eunice het vir my gesê dat sy daai man wat hom doodgemaak het vergewe.
Ja.
En jy vergewe jy hom ook?
Ek het hom baie lankal vergewe. Van ek lei hom in my kar, ek saam met hom rond. Selfs ek saam met hom. So ek het hom lankal vergewe omrede hy is 'n kind ook. Hy is my pad, hy is ver. Hy is omtrent Maradona se pad, so ek vat hom soos my kind.
Was hy in die tronk
Hy was in die tronk gewees, ja.
Ja, hoe lank?
Hy het 2 jaar gekry. En het klaar gemaak. Hy is nog buite.
Dis 'n unbelievable story vir my hierdie. En nou Sam, nou wat vir my so ongelooflik is, hier kom jy nou 5 jaar later en jy word self siek nou.
Ja.
Nee? En jy het nou jou niere is besig om in te gee en jy moet vir 'n nieroorplanting gaan.
Ja.
Hoe hanteer jy dit?
Eunice, soos ek nou sê, ek wil graag gesond wees. Ek voel nou ook gesond, maar ek weet nie vir hoe lang. Ek weet nie wanneer gaan niere sê, nou sê, ons kan nie meer, sy het weer 'n tydjie gegee om te lewe, om vir jou te reg te maak, maar nou ons kan nie te verder weer nie. Nou daaroor is 'n bietjie bang, want ek weet nie, van soos nou as ek sit, ek voel bietjie alright. Maar ek weet nog nie wanneer gaan die bombaar sê, dus sê, jy kan nie meer beweeg nie. Die niere selfs so klaar, dat is het niet te laat. Ek was blij, nou nog ook wat Maradona gedoen het. Het was een beetje painful voor ons. Maar laatste keer was mijn klinken wat nog iemand helpt. Die is ik nog. Wie gaat nou van mij helpen? Dat was mijn vraag.